First contact's price. The holographic display flickered in the dimly lit observation room of Luna Base Alpha, casting an ethereal blue glow across Dr. Hannah Mitchell's face. Her eyes narrowed as she studied the anomalous readings from Earth's deep space monitoring network. For the third time this month, the quantum sensors had detected something that shouldn't exist, gravitational distortions that appeared and vanished with impossible precision. Run the analysis again, she instructed the base's eye. Focus on the temporal variance patterns. The results remained unchanged. Someone was watching Earth, and they were using technology far beyond anything humanity had developed. More concerning was the fact that these observations had been going on for years, hidden behind sophisticated cloaking technology that they'd only recently learned to detect. Hannah's discovery would never have happened if not for the accident. 6 months ago, a malfunction in the quantum resonance array had created an unexpected feedback loop, revealing brief glimpses of the observers. Since then, her team had refined the detection process, building a comprehensive picture of Earth's silent watchers. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Director James Chen of the United Earth Defense Force entered, his usually composed features tight with concern. "Tell me you have something concrete, Dr. Mitchell." "Better." Hannah gestured to the holographic display. "I can tell you why they're watching us. These energy signatures, they're consistent with quarantine enforcement protocols." Chen's eyebrows rose. "Quarantine? We're not just being observed, Director. We're being contained." Hannah brought up a new set of data streams. "These patterns suggest a network of satellites or stations positioned throughout our solar system. They're not just monitoring us. They're actively preventing us from detecting something. The question is what?" Chen mused, studying the data. "And more importantly, why?" The answer came 3 days later, through an unlikely source. Dr. Raj Patel, a quantum physicist working on Earth's first faster-than-light communication system, detected an encrypted transmission. It took the combined efforts of Earth's most advanced quantum computers 2 weeks to decrypt it. The message was brief. Containment protocols holding. Subject species shows concerning advancement rate. Recommend immediate intervention before detection threshold is breached. The response came shortly after. Intervention approved. Proceed with contact scenario Delta 7. Maintained illusion of natural discovery. They had less than a month to prepare before first contact was initiated. Hannah worked with Chen and a hastily assembled team of Earth's brightest minds to develop a strategy. If humanity was being set up, they needed to be ready. The natural discovery came right on schedule. A seemingly damaged alien vessel appeared at the edge of the solar system, broadcasting distress signals on frequencies humanity had just begun to explore. Earth's response would determine everything that followed. "We can't let them know we've detected their surveillance network," Chen argued during the emergency council meeting. "The moment they realize we're aware of the containment protocols, whatever plans they have will accelerate." Hannah agreed. "We need to appear exactly as they expect. A young, eager species excited about first contact. Meanwhile, we prepare." The council approved their recommendation. When Earth's first official response was transmitted to the damaged vessel, it contained exactly what the observers would expect. Excitement, offers of assistance, and the kind of technical limitations they'd expect from a primitive species. The alien vessel's crew introduced themselves as the Arxer, representatives of the Galactic Confederation. They spoke of peace, cooperation, and cultural exchange. Their technology was impressive, but not overwhelming. Carefully calibrated, Hannah suspected, to awe without intimidating. What the Arxer didn't know was that every moment of interaction was being analyzed by quantum computers far more advanced than anything humanity officially possessed. Every piece of their technology, every casual mention of galactic politics, every seemingly innocent question about Earth's development was fed into predictive models. The picture that emerged was troubling. The Confederation's history, gleaned from careful analysis of their database exchanges, revealed a pattern. Young species were contacted, guided, and shaped to fit the Confederation's needs. Those that developed too quickly or in unexpected directions faced containment or worse. They're scared of us, Hannah realized one night, reviewing the latest analysis. Not of what we are, but of what we might become. The evidence was there in the data. Earth's classification as a death world hadn't just been about its environmental conditions. The Confederation had been monitoring humanity's rate of technological advancement, and something about it had frightened them enough to implement containment protocols. Director Chen took this information directly to the Global Defense Council. "We have an opportunity," he explained. "They think they're managing our first contact experience. Let's let them believe that while we prepare for their real intentions." The Council agreed. Over the next 6 months, humanity played their role perfectly. They appeared appropriately awed by Confederation technology, asked the expected questions, and showed exactly the right amount of deference to their new galactic neighbors. Meanwhile, in secret facilities scattered across Earth and its colonies, humanity's real work continued. The quantum detection systems that had revealed the Confederation's surveillance were refined and expanded. New technologies were developed, tested, and hidden away. Cities were built underground, fleets were constructed in dimensional pockets, and weapons were designed that the Confederation wouldn't believe possible. Hannah stood at her observation post 1 year after first contact, watching the Confederation's diplomatic vessel depart Earth's orbit. The aliens believed their containment protocols were still secret, that humanity was developing exactly as they planned. She thought about the message she decoded that started it all. The Confederation had been right to be concerned about humanity's advancement rate. What they hadn't realized was that by trying to contain humanity, they'd only accelerated the process. Their surveillance had taught humanity about advanced cloaking technology. Their attempts at control had pushed Earth to develop countermeasures that would have taken centuries to discover naturally. "Status report." Chen's voice came through her comm. "The Confederation's delegation is leaving exactly as scheduled," Hannah reported. "Their sensors show exactly what we want them to see. A promising but properly limited young species." "And the reality?" Hannah smiled, though there was little humor in it. "Production facilities in the quantum fold are operating at full capacity. Defense grid is at 87% completion. At our current rate of advancement, we'll have surpassed their visible technology level within 5 years." "Good," Chen replied. "Let's hope we never have to use any of it. But if they decide to stop playing nice, we'll be ready," Hannah finished. She watched the Confederation ship disappear into FTL, leaving behind their surveillance network, their containment protocols, and their carefully managed illusion of control. The Confederation thought they were guiding humanity's development. In reality, they were about to learn a harsh lesson about the species they try to contain. Because on Earth, humanity had a saying: "Pressure creates diamonds," and the Confederation had been applying pressure for a very long time. The gentle mask. Dr. Maya Patel stood in her laboratory deep beneath the Indian Ocean, watching quantum particles dance through her latest simulation. To any Confederation observer, the facility appeared to be a standard marine research station. The quantum masking technology she'd developed ensured they saw exactly what they expected: primitive atmospheric processing equipment, basic aquaculture systems, and the occasional breakthrough that kept humanity's development rate within acceptable parameters. "Run final diagnostic on Project Mirror," she instructed her AI assistant. The holographic display transformed, showing layers of reality folding in on themselves. What had started as a defensive technology had evolved into something far more profound: the ability to manipulate how other species perceived fundamental forces of the universe. A message flashed across her neural interface. Director Chen's avatar appeared in her lab. "The Confederation's Science Council is requesting another inspection tour. Apparently, our recent advances in fusion technology have drawn attention." Maya nodded, already initiating shutdown procedures for her more sensitive experiments. "Let me guess. They want to make sure we're developing along appropriate lines." "Precisely. They're particularly interested in your facility. Something about unusual energy signatures. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The energy signatures were deliberate, breadcrumbs leading away from their real advances. They'll find exactly what they're looking for. Some promising but ultimately limited research into deep-sea thermal energy extraction. The inspection came 3 days later. Maya watched through quantum-shifted space as Confederation scientists moved through her lab, their sophisticated sensors probing for secrets. They found none. Project Mirror didn't just hide technology. It created false trails, showing the observers exactly what their preconceptions told them they should see. Senior researcher Zaxval, a towering insectoid with crystalline sensor arrays where eyes would be on a human, seemed particularly interested in their thermal extraction prototype. Impressive progress for your species development level. They chittered, mandibles clicking in what Maya had learned was their equivalent of condescending approval. "Thank you," Maya replied, maintaining the careful balance of pride and deference that the Confederation expected from developing species. "Though we're having trouble maintaining stable reaction temperatures above certain thresholds." It was a calculated admission. The Confederation's scientists eagerly launched into explanations of why such problems were to be expected at humanity's current technology level, never realizing they were being fed exactly the information Earth needed about their own understanding of quantum mechanics. After the inspection, Maya met with her core team in a quantum-shielded conference room. Dr. Sarah Chen, James Chen's daughter and head of applied quantum physics, brought up a holographic display of their latest findings. "Every time they scan us, they reveal more about their own technological limitations," Sarah explained. "They're still using linear quantum observation methods. They can't even conceive of the possibility of dimensional folding." Maya nodded, which means Project Mirror isn't just hiding our advances. It's confirming that we've already surpassed them in key areas. She brought up her own data streams. "The real question is, how long until they realize something's wrong? We're maintaining the appearance of proper development, but sooner or later, they're going to notice the discrepancies." The answer came sooner than anyone expected. A week after the inspection, Maya's quantum sensors detected unusual activity in the Confederation's surveillance network. They were upgrading their monitoring systems, adding new detection protocols that suggested growing suspicion. "They're not just watching anymore," Maya reported to Director Chen during an emergency briefing. "They're actively searching for something. The question is, what tipped them off?" Chen's expression was grim. "Maybe nothing specific, but we're not the only species they're containing. Our intelligence suggests they recently had problems with another developing race. The Arxer might have made them paranoid." Maya pulled up the latest data from Project Mirror. "We can adjust our quantum masking protocols to account for their new scanning methods, but we're reaching the limits of what we can hide. The more advanced our technology becomes, the harder it is to maintain the illusion of primitiveness. How long can we maintain the deception?" Maya studied the probability curves. 3 months, maybe 4. After that, the energy requirements for Project Mirror will become detectable even with our quantum masking. "We're approaching a threshold where the very act of hiding our technology will reveal how advanced we've become." Chen was quiet for a long moment. "Then we need to accelerate our preparations. If we can't hide forever, we need to be ready when the mask comes off." The next 2 months saw humanity's hidden production facilities working at maximum capacity. Quantum-shielded ships were constructed in dimensional pockets, weapons systems were refined and tested in parallel universes, and defense grids were extended throughout human space. Maya's team focused on developing next-generation quantum masking technology. If they couldn't prevent discovery indefinitely, they could at least control how much the Confederation learned, and when they learned it. "The interesting thing," Maya explained during a project review, "is that their containment protocols actually helped us advance faster than we would have otherwise. Having to hide our progress forced us to develop technologies we might not have considered for centuries." Sarah Chen laughed without humor. "The ultimate irony. In trying to keep us contained, they pushed us to surpass them." The Confederation's next inspection was scheduled for the following month. Maya knew it would be critical. Their new scanning technology would be looking for any sign of unauthorized advancement. Earth's various research facilities were prepared, their quantum masks calibrated to show exactly the right level of progress. But as Maya reviewed the final preparations, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were approaching a turning point. The gentle mask of compliance they'd worn since first contact was becoming harder to maintain. Sooner or later, something would break. She thought about the Confederation's predictable patterns, their rigid beliefs about how species should develop. They had constructed an entire galactic society around the idea that progress could be controlled, measured, and contained. They were about to learn that some forces couldn't be contained. Humanity had spent its entire history adapting, evolving, and overcoming limitations. The Confederation's attempts to restrict human development had only served to focus that innovative drive. When the mask finally came off, the galaxy would learn why Earth was classified as a death world. Not because of its harsh environment or dangerous wildlife, but because it had produced a species that thrived on overcoming exactly the kind of restrictions the Confederation tried to impose. Maya sent her final report to Director Chen. Project Mirror is ready for the next phase. Whether they discover us or we choose to reveal ourselves, we're prepared for either scenario. The response was brief. Maintain current protocols. Let them play their games. When the time comes, they'll learn that humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our patience. Breaking point. The emergency alert came at 300 Earth Standard Time. Admiral Sarah Chen was pulled from sleep by her neural interface's urgent pulsing. The quantum-encrypted message was brief. Confederation fleet detected approaching New Eden colony. Energy signatures match planetary sterilization protocols. Sarah was in the command center of Earth's hidden fleet within minutes. The massive chamber, buried 2 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, hummed with controlled activity. Advanced holographic displays showed the Confederation fleet's approach in real time, their ships visible through humanity's quantum detection grid. They're calling it ecological harmonization, her senior intelligence officer reported. According to intercepted communications, they claim to have detected dangerous biological anomalies in New Eden's biosphere. Sarah knew better. New Eden was humanity's most successful extrasolar colony, with a population of 3 million. More importantly, it was home to some of Earth's most advanced quantum research facilities, hidden beneath layers of carefully maintained deception. Time to contact, she asked. 47 minutes at their current velocity. They're broadcasting standard containment protocols, warning all ships to avoid the system due to environmental hazards. The Confederation's playbook was becoming clear. They would isolate the colony, conduct their harmonization, and present it to the galactic community as a tragic but necessary intervention to prevent ecological disaster. Sarah opened a secure channel to Earth Command. Director Chen's hologram appeared immediately. I assume you've seen the data. Yes, sir. This isn't a random choice. They've detected something in New Eden. Agreed. Dr. Patel's latest analysis suggests their new scanning technology may have picked up trace quantum signatures from the research facilities. They don't know what they've found, but they're not taking chances. Sarah studied the tactical display. The Confederation fleet was impressive. 15 capital ships and their escorts, enough firepower to reduce a planet's surface to slag. Under normal circumstances, such a force would be overwhelming for a primitive colony. Orders? She asked, though she already knew the answer. Protect the colony, Chen replied, but maintain containment protocols until absolutely necessary. If we can resolve this without revealing our full capabilities, all the better. Sarah nodded. And if we can't? Then show them exactly why trying to sterilize a human world was their biggest mistake. The next 40 minutes were a carefully choreographed dance of preparation. Earth's hidden fleet, ships that existed in quantum superposition, invisible to conventional sensors, moved into position. Ground-based defenses on New Eden, disguised as atmospheric processors and mining equipment, were brought to full readiness. 5 minutes before the Confederation fleet's arrival, Sarah addressed her crew. "For years, we've hidden our true capabilities. We've played the role they expected. Grateful primitives, slowly advancing under their guidance. That ends today if necessary. If they force our hand, we show them exactly what humanity can do." The Confederation fleet dropped out of FTL in a precise formation, their weapons already charging. Sarah watched as they began broadcasting their ecological harmonization notice on all frequencies. "Attention human colony New Eden. This is Executor Vex, then of the Galactic Confederation. We have detected Class 1 biological contamination in your biosphere. For the safety of all galactic species, we must initiate immediate sterilization protocols. Please begin immediate evacuation." Sarah cut off the transmission. "Send response protocol Alpha. Let's see if they'll back down without a fight." New Eden's official colonial government transmitted exactly the kind of panicked, confused response the Confederation would expect from a primitive colony. They begged for time to evacuate, asked for explanations, promised compliance with any restrictions. The Confederation's response was chilling in its bureaucratic efficiency. "Your evacuation request is noted. However, the threat level requires immediate action. Sterilization will commence in 10 standard minutes. The Confederation regrets any loss of life." Sarah watched the Confederation ships move into attack formation. They were being methodical, following standard protocols for dealing with a helpless colony. Their sensors showed exactly what they expected. Primitive orbital defenses, basic planetary shields, nothing that could stop a modern fleet. "They're launching atmospheric dispersal pods," her tactical officer reported. "Sterilization agents detected. They're not even trying to minimize casualties." Sarah straightened in her command chair. "I think it's time to adjust their perspective. Bring our fleet into normal space. Let's show them what happens when you threaten a human world." The effect was immediate. Across the battlefield, quantum fields shifted as Earth's hidden fleet phased into visible reality. Advanced warships, their hulls rippling with technologies the Confederation couldn't comprehend, surrounded the alien fleet in a perfect containment formation. "Confederation vessels," Sarah broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Your sterilization protocols end now. Withdraw immediately, or we will demonstrate why threatening human colonies is inadvisable." The Confederation fleet's reaction was predictable: confusion, followed by disbelief, then panic. Their sensors, finally showing them reality instead of the carefully maintained illusion, registered power signatures that shouldn't have been possible for a primitive species. "This is impossible," Executor Vex then responded. "Your species is containment level 3. You cannot have this technology." "And yet here we are," Sarah replied. "Your containment protocols were never as effective as you believed. Now withdraw your fleet, or learn firsthand why Earth is classified as a death world." The Confederation ships began powering up their weapons. Sarah had expected this. Species used to absolute dominance rarely responded well to challenges from their perceived inferiors. "All ships, execute quantum strike protocol," Sarah ordered. "Minimal casualties, maximum impact. Show them exactly what they're dealing with." What followed would be discussed in Confederation strategic meetings for decades to come. Earth's ships didn't just fight. They rewrote the rules of space combat. Quantum fields disrupted weapon trajectories, ships phased through solid matter, and targeted systems simply ceased to exist as localized physics went into flux. In 3 minutes, the mighty Confederation fleet was reduced to drifting hulks, their weapons and engines disabled by technologies they couldn't even detect, let alone counter. "Executor Vex then," Sarah broadcast again. "Your ships are disabled but intact. Your crews are unharmed. Consider this a demonstration of restraint, not weakness. The next Confederation fleet that threatens a human world will not receive such gentle treatment." As rescue ships from New Eden moved to assist the stranded Confederation crews, Sarah opened a channel to Earth Command. "Sir, the immediate threat is neutralized. But this changes everything. There's no going back to hiding now. Director Chen's hologram nodded grimly. No, there isn't. But perhaps that's for the best. The galaxy needs to understand that humanity isn't just another species to be contained and controlled. Send word to all colonies and outposts. Protocol Omega is now in effect. It's time to show the Confederation exactly what they've been trying to contain. Unveiled strength. The Galactic Confederation's High Council chamber had never been so silent. Admiral Chen Wei stood before the assembled representatives of 1,000 species, her hologram projected from Earth Command. The quantum technology allowing her presence made their most advanced communication systems look primitive by comparison. You lied to us, High Counselor Zextor accused, his crystalline form vibrating with barely contained rage. Your species concealed its true technological level, a direct violation of Confederation law. No, Chen replied calmly. We protected ourselves from a system designed to suppress and control emerging civilizations. The data we're now transmitting to each of your quantum cores will explain exactly why. The data package hit their systems like a tidal wave. Centuries of Confederation records, decoded and analyzed, revealing a pattern of systematic suppression. Promising species contained, restricted, and sometimes eliminated if they developed too quickly or in unexpected ways. Impossible, another counselor whispered, mandibles clicking in distress. These records were quantum encrypted. You couldn't have accessed them. We broke your encryption 5 years ago, Chen stated. Your containment protocols weren't just ineffective. They pushed us to develop technologies you hadn't even theorized. Your attempts to restrict us became our greatest catalyst for advancement. Across human space, the truth of her words was becoming apparent. Quantum fields shifted as hidden facilities, shipyards, and entire cities phased into normal space. The scope of human advancement, concealed for years behind careful deception, finally became clear to the watching galaxy. In orbit around Earth, the largest human fleet ever assembled emerged from dimensional storage. Ships that defied conventional physics, powered by technologies that the Confederation's best scientists couldn't comprehend, took up defensive positions around human worlds. The Confederation faces a choice, Chen continued. You can accept that your model of controlled species development has failed, or you can attempt to contain us by force. I strongly advise against the second option. To emphasize her point, quantum sensors throughout Confederation space activated, revealing human observation posts that had existed undetected for years. The message was clear. Humanity hadn't just defended itself, it had prepared for every contingency. You don't understand what you've done, Zextor warned. Other species will learn from this. The entire system of controlled development will collapse. Good, Chen replied. Perhaps it's time for a system that doesn't treat emerging civilizations as threats to be contained. We're transmitting our quantum technology specifications to every member species. Let them decide for themselves how to develop. The chamber erupted in chaos. Centuries of carefully maintained hierarchies were crumbling in real time. Species that had been kept contained for generations were suddenly receiving technologies that their suppressors had deemed too dangerous for them to possess. In the midst of the uproar, a smaller avian counselor named Rixka raised an interesting point. You could have revealed this at any time. Why wait until we threatened your colony? Chen's hologram smiled. Because humanity learned something important from studying your history. Power isn't just about capability, it's about timing. We needed you to understand exactly what your containment protocols had created. The quantum displays showed more human achievements. Dimensional engineering that made their ships virtually invulnerable energy systems that drew power from parallel universes, and weapons that could rewrite local physics. But it was their defensive technologies that truly demonstrated how far humanity had advanced. Every attempt you made to restrict us forced us to innovate, Chen explained. When you monitored our communications, we developed quantum entanglement. When you watched our space, we mastered dimensional folding. When you tried to contain our expansion, We learned to hide entire civilizations in plain sight. The implications were starting to sink in. The Confederation's greatest fear, an uncontrolled species advancing too quickly, had been realized. But instead of the chaos they had predicted, humanity had developed with purpose and restraint, building defenses rather than weapons of conquest. "We're not interested in domination," Chen assured them. "Earth has seen enough empires rise and fall to know better. What we want is reform. The Confederation can continue as a cooperative body of species, or it can cling to its old hierarchies and face the consequences." To demonstrate her point, quantum fields shifted around the council chamber itself. The supposedly impregnable seat of Confederation power had been sitting inside a human containment field for years, though none of their sensors had detected it. "Your choice," Chen concluded. "But know this, the age of containment is over. Humanity won't allow any species to be suppressed as we were. The galaxy is entering a new era, whether you choose to adapt or not." The council chamber remained silent for a long moment. Then, one by one, representatives of formerly contained species began to speak up, demanding access to the same opportunities humanity was offering. The balance of power was shifting in real time. Zextor, watching his carefully maintained system collapse, finally asked the question that many were thinking: how did we not see this coming? Chen's answer was simple. You saw exactly what you expected to see. A primitive species, gradually developing under your guidance. Your containment protocols never failed. They just contained exactly the wrong things. You were so focused on restricting our development that you never considered we might advance in ways your sensors couldn't detect. As the council descended into debate about the future of galactic governance, Shen's hologram maintained its calm presence. Humanity had revealed its strength not through conquest or aggression, but through careful planning and strategic patience. They had turned the Confederation's own containment protocols into a shield behind which they had built something unprecedented. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity would ensure it changed for the better. The species that had evolved on a death world had learned to transform restriction into opportunity, turning every attempt to contain them into a catalyst for advancement. New Order. 1 year after humanity's dramatic revelation to the Galactic Confederation, the galaxy had transformed in ways few could have predicted. The grand chamber of the newly established Galactic Coalition bore little resemblance to the old Confederation Council. Where once a rigid hierarchy had dominated, now representatives from all species sat as equals. Dr. Hannah Mitchell stood at the podium, addressing the assembled delegates. The quantum physicist who had first detected the Confederation's surveillance network was now Earth's chief representative to the coalition. Around her, hundreds of species, some only recently freed from containment protocols, participated in open dialogue about the future of galactic civilization. "The transition hasn't been easy," she acknowledged, "but the results speak for themselves. In just 1 year, formerly restricted species have made technological leaps that would have taken centuries under the old system. More importantly, they've done so responsibly, proving that development doesn't have to mean destruction." The data streams surrounding her showed the evidence: cooperative research projects between formerly primitive species and their one-time suppressors, new technologies that combine different civilizations' approaches, and peaceful expansion into previously restricted regions of space. Not everyone had embraced the new order. A faction of former Confederation hardliners had attempted to maintain their control through force. Their effort had failed spectacularly when they discovered that humanity's revealed capabilities had been, yet again, only the visible portion of their true strength. "We never wanted to be galactic peacekeepers," Hannah continued, "but we will not allow a return to the old system of suppression and control. Every species deserves the chance to develop according to their own path." In the year since the revelation, humanity had shared selected technologies with other species, but more importantly, they had shared their methodology. The approach that had allowed them to advance while appearing primitive became a model for responsible development. Admiral Chen Wei, watching from Earth Command, smiled as her old friend addressed the coalition. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their advanced technology or hidden fleets. It was their ability to turn adversity into advantage. The quantum network that now connected coalition worlds had been born from humanity's need to hide their communications. The dimensional engineering that allowed safe, faster-than-light travel had emerged from their efforts to conceal their true capabilities. Every restriction the Confederation had placed on them had sparked innovations that now benefited all species. Most surprisingly to the former Confederation members, humanity had shown remarkable restraint with their advantages. There had been no revenge against their former suppressors, no attempt to establish a new hierarchy with Earth at its peak. Instead, they had worked to create a genuine coalition of equals. The old Confederation feared uncontrolled development, Hannah explained to the assembly. They believed that without their guidance, species would inevitably destroy themselves or others. The past year has proven otherwise. When given freedom and responsibility together, most civilizations choose advancement over aggression. She gestured to the quantum displays showing joint projects across coalition space. Former containment worlds now hosted research facilities where multiple species worked together. The rigid boundaries between development tiers had dissolved, replaced by cooperative endeavors that benefited from diverse perspectives. Earth was classified as a death world, Hannah reminded them, not just because of its harsh environment, but because the Confederation feared what we might become. They never understood that evolving on a challenging world hadn't made us destructive. It had taught us the value of adaptation and cooperation. The coalition had proven more successful than even humanity had hoped. Species that had been locked in artificial competition under the Confederation's tiered system discovered they had complementary strengths. Technologies that had been restricted out of fear were now developed openly, with multiple civilizations contributing safeguards and improvements. The galaxy faced a choice, Hannah concluded. Continue with a system of control and suppression, or embrace the potential in every species. You chose potential. The results have transformed our understanding of what's possible when civilizations work together as equals. As she finished speaking, quantum arrays throughout coalition space activated, displaying her words in every member world's native language. The technology, once used to hide humanity's advancement, now serves to unite the galaxy's civilizations. Director Chen's final report to Earth's government summed up the transformation. We prepared for war, but achieved something far more difficult: genuine peace, not through dominance or control, but by showing the galaxy a better way forward. The species that evolved on a death world has helped create a galaxy where no world needs to fear development. The quantum sensors that had first detected the Confederation's surveillance now served as an early warning network for natural disasters and astronomical phenomena. Ships that had been built for war now carried cooperative scientific missions to the galaxy's unexplored regions. The very technologies humanity had developed in secrecy became the foundation for an unprecedented era of open collaboration. Earth's classification remained unchanged in the Galactic database. It was still listed as a death world. But the meaning had shifted. Now it served as a reminder that the most challenging environments could produce not just survival adaptations, but the wisdom to use power responsibly. The galaxy had learned what the Confederation had failed to understand. True strength didn't come from controlling others, but from helping them reach their full potential. Humanity, the species they had tried to contain, had instead broken the containers and shown everyone how to thrive in freedom. The age of containment was over. The age of collaboration had begun. And throughout coalition space, species that had once lived in fear of advancement now looked to the future with hope, thanks to the Deathworlders who had chosen to break their chains not with violence, but with wisdom.